Thank you very much, Chair. And I recognize Ms. King Hinds for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you to the committee for allowing me to wave in or wave on. And I want to first start off by saying, as someone who is living the reality of living in the U.S. Indo-Pacific theater, I recognize the strategic competition we're in with China, and we need to be smart about it. I also believe in innovation, and I believe that we should bolster our domestic supply chains and not be reliant on China. And I also believe that we should have a regulatory system that works. But I also believe in something just as strongly. You know, in places like the Marianas, American Samoa, Guam, we don't get the luxury of being wrong. And any decision impacting our ocean is permanent. There's no fix it, and there's no move it somewhere else. I was born there, I'm gonna die here. I'm just here, you know what I mean, like a military being deployed, right, as a member of Congress. Because the ocean is not just, you know, deeply tied to our identity or culture, especially at a time when our economies are collapsing. The ocean is a refrigerator for many of the people in our community. And Mr. Gunasekara, you know, thank you very much for coming over to the office to have a conversation about, you know, your innovation and your technology, what you're trying to do with it. Because a lot of the confusion, right, with regards to this ongoing conversation is a lack of understanding about the process where everything is at. And as you know, because you have been tracking, when the RFI came out, people in American Samoa, the people in Guam, and the people of the Marianas came out and said, hell nah to sea mining, right? But that's related to their, you know, to their belief that mining companies do not think that, or they believe that you think that you should not go through the NEPA process, right? The full EIS process. And I want to give you the opportunity to go on record and to, you know, to clarify that, please.
We're committed to a NEPA and environmental review. I think it is essential to collect baseline information and then do an environmental impact assessment combined with a mining test to see what the impacts would be. And only then do we have the data. And I think it's very important that communities are involved. And I support the RFI because it starts the dialogue. We're right at the beginning. It's going to take many years before we would potentially be actually mining.
Okay, so I've heard both Mr. Barron and yourself, you know, talk about faster permitting, right, to just get a little bit more clarity with regards to timelines. And so I want to get a little bit more clarity from you. What exactly are you asking the federal government to shorten, remove, or combine, and which environmental or community protection steps are you willing to leave untouched? Because these are, you know, this is where the concern from our communities are coming from, right?
We really want to have community engagement, but we want that to be a high quality engagement.
And what does that mean? What does high quality community engagement mean?
It means that we have real data that we can share, so that there has been data collected in the environment. We can show what the impact of the collecting will be. We don't feel it makes sense to have an RFI when there is no new data. So it's about having a high quality engagement versus having a huge number of engagement where there is no new data.
Okay, so you spoke about your technology minimizing disturbance, and I'm directing my questions to you because you seem to have been the first to respond to some of our community concerns, and thank you for doing that, by the way, right? And so what measurable thresholds can you commit to ensure that, you know, for example, plume size, turbidity, or the footprint, right, is not damaging?
Well, that's the whole reason we designed our technology. It does not have a sediment plume. It doesn't land, it hovers. It doesn't have a riser system. It doesn't have a mid-water plume. We have gone to great lengths to really minimize the environmental impact and the fact that we can selectively collect and avoid all visible life. So that's the whole reason I created the company, and it's what all of our team is focused on. How do we create a collection system that absolutely minimizes the environmental impact?
I'm out of time, so I will yield back, Mr. Chair.